guys. Um, this is me doing something on impulse. So I bought like all of the portrait mods, all the default mods, and I know all of us spend like 3 hours on these screens anyways. So I'm just doing this for fun because I had this idea while I was couldn't sleep late last night and I wanted to try it. So I'm going to go over every portrait and I'm going to come up with a class for all of them. Also, I noticed a lot of the custom ones are fan art. So that'd be fun to point out if you guys mind it. But we'll start with the base ones. Like here looks like our main lady, like Hedwig from Kingmaker. She's got a short sword, clearly an ASMR, white hair, book. I'd go with Sword Saint or maybe a wizard personally. Definitely arcane. That one's easy. I have no idea. I can't. Like it's a dwarf lady, but thing is, I don't get these portraits for adventurers, like these fancy. This is a council person, not a portrait of an adventurer. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't a person who's going around traveling or is a boss. I mean, I guess you could argue that for other people, but it doesn't really work for me, personally. Still, if I had to give for somebody, maybe a wizard or an arcanist. This one's actually canonically a cavalier. Although, based on that armor, I would have given them a, like, Blood Ranger or Armored Hulk Barbarian, personally. We got a half-elf, apparently. I gotta go through these quick, because I'm gonna go through the custom ones, too. And here's a quarterstaff master monk. That's an easy one. Someone with sneak attack, obviously. Fun fact, this is a Nevia's alternate character portrait. If you don't know what that means, if you chose like this portrait, which is a Nevia, then in-game she gets replaced with this one, so you don't have two overlapping portraits. Here's... This guy is a monk if he's a character, but let's face it, no, that's general. That's the Suna Shy. This guy's already canonically a cleric, so that's an easy one. Here's a fun one. This one could be a rogue or a ranger. I wish throwing knives were a thing in the game. I guess you could do darts and kind of make it, because those look more like throwing knives than other things to me, but that's definitely a ranger or a rogue fox. Maybe a slayer. Someone with sneak attack. I always think this is best, like, for wizard and like multiplexing into lore master, because like the library really lets it go with lore master. Very wise looking fox. Ah, this is the guy who fits the optimistic voice best of the default portraits. Like you can hear that voice coming out of that beard. Personally, like, yeah, he's probably a magus based on the art here, or maybe it's Skald. I don't know. It's not really musical. Got very light armor. But I like this one, especially because he's one of the camp portraits. He looks like he was designed to be in the game more than most people. Here's Vampire Hunter D. Now, I love this portrait. I love that we have a canonical one with a cool hat. I love that we have one that's very good dampier. The one thing, and this will crop up a few times, is this annoying shit. He has a punching dagger and a rapier. I mean, this is definitely an Inquisitor of Callistra or Caden Callian, because he has a rapier. But, like, punching, like, these, you can never dual wield two different weapons within the system. And those portraits annoy me, because you see them when you're in medium. I don't know if you're having OCD like I do, but yeah, that happens a lot. And so, like, I love the face, I love the rain. It just annoys me that he has two different weapons. Nice simple one. This one, hilariously, Orgus's replacement photo. Looks a lot harder to kill in this one. This one I don't mind the sword as much because he's a fighter, so at least it can be okay. Although he's primarily a mace guy. Canonically, he's a fighter in the pre-gens. But I like him. He's one of the few guys who actually looks like he uses the big character model. Most portraits look like they use the average character model. This guy's technically a Slayer, but easily could be a Rogue or an Inquisitor with a crossbow. I really do like this portrait, although I never seem to use it because I play on harder difficulties, so tieflings are kind of hard to recommend sometimes. Borgus. Merchant, maybe? Merchant's not class. Maybe a bard? Or, what else can use a rapier? I mean, you could use a rapier if you ever take courtier as a background, so... maybe. Anevia. She does sneak attack damage. She's probably a Slayer or a Rogue with a bow. I go with Rogue with a bow, personally, because she seems to have a lot of utility. Like, you got the bag of tricks, like, she has skills. Irabeth, canonically a paladin. I like that she actually has a ranged option. She does that. Definitely an Iomade paladin, you've got the swords here. That's one thing that's interesting about these, is like, some of them have very tied to the universe stuff. Stan's canonical portrait, and I would personally use this as a paladin, or there's like only a few classes to get heavy armor. But this feels like the perfect one for a Stone Lord, or I don't want to say Steel Blood because he looks too calm to be a Blood Ranger. I'd personally just go with Fighter for that one. A lot of these will be fighters because fighters can make anything. That's a rogue. That's Nura. That's a bard. Although the thing is, like, she is a bard in game, but she has no musical equipment. Even Lindsay's portrait from Kingmaker, if like you go to Kingmaker characters, Lindsay's portrait has her instrument on her back. So like that's the one thing that bugs me about this. Is like you don't see her instrument anywhere. Good halfling portrait. This one was clearly made after the modeling because this is like the only one with that hair in all the files. But I like this as an oracle actually because it feels more holy than a sorcerer. That makes sense. Like it feels like she's doing divine revelation here. And this is interesting because this is a bard, but I have no freaking clue how you would make this into a class. Like the next three are all bards. This one's a dirge bard specifically because you can look dead in the back. Although she has the same problem, she doesn't really feel adventure-y, she feels like a final boss. And this guy! This is like a perfect bard material. Light enough clothing, but he's so practical to walk around in. This is a perfect adventure bard. Magical instruments, a mask for your bluffing. If only I wasn't so creeped out by elf designs. I'm sorry, it's something with like the big black eyes. Like, the ears don't mind me, but, like, the big black eyes just bug the shit out of me for some reason. They look like insects. I know it's canonical, but, like, I grew up with Lord of the Rings movies, okay? Sorceress, we all know this. That's a knife master with short swords. Speaking of, short swords look way too short in this game. I know it sounds contradictory, but I swear some of the daggers are longer. Irabeth's alternate photo. Her with longer hair. Doesn't like it because it doesn't match the character model. This is a spoiler character, but that's supposed to be a falchion. That looks way too big for a falchion to me. Yeah. I don't know who they replaced this with if you chose this portrait. Here's a Slayer, I guess. This guy looks like he just wants to kill something. And this is Staunton's alternate portrait. We all know this guy's a rogue. He's the pre-made character. He even looks like a bitch. Regel's evil cousin. Same purple hair. Why did Jubileus not have purple hair? Are they all supposed to have colorful hair in Galarian lore? Lore experts see it on that. Alright, now this one. ASMR, got the halo already. This is like... I like how this is almost extremely clearly either Dresden or the Chapel, Lost Chapel chapter. I actually used this portrait once as an oracle with the battle mystery and the leader background. Get your heavy armor, you move, but you still are tanky. You still and the flame sword. This is just perfect angel path. This is interesting. I'd actually play this as a cleric of Asmodeus because he's just like, yeah, I burned down a house. I don't care. Brutal and efficient. Reginald's best halfling friend. You know, it's weird. You know, halfling toes was the most resilient things on Earth. He's like full super plate, toes are exposed. Like halfling feet must be stronger than adamantine. That's what's called a caster, but the way it's all natural and doesn't look like he's using a book or anything, I'm going with Sorcerer Oracle. I'm leaning towards Sorcerer because it looks more chaotic and powerful to me. Sort of like Oracle seem to have semi-more control. Now for Kingmaker. I'd go with a caster. What kind of caster though? Maybe a wizard or a witch. Someone who can carry themselves with intelligence and grace. Ah, here we go. Duelist fighter, or I honestly wonder if this design got refined, because this was in Kingmaker too, but like the way her design works and all her stuff, the greens and the blues, I wonder if this design later evolved into Camellia. Because she has she has a similar long dark hair, but it's either the greens, blues, and a buckler and rapier combo. Like this is very much this is from Kingmaker, but it very much wouldn't surprise me if this was also that. And also it's kind of funny how this is like the default character model that they black out to show you how they work. A ranger or a slayer, some nice dwarf lady, a fucking rogue. We all know this is a rogue. Setting up traps. I wish you could do that. Like, maybe an alchemist, but this is too cocky to be an alchemist. Barbarian, blood rager, anyone who can get a rage effect, basically. Or a fighter in the demon path. Looks like lighter armor, so I'd probably go with barbarian or blood rager personally instead of someone who can get fire rage. This I like as a magus. He's clearly enchanting his weapon arcanely, and it's a dagger, so it's a backup weapon, but he's clearly a bow guy. And he has scrolls, so he can use them. I personally think this would make a great Eldritch Archer portrait. Chirurromancer, Necromancer. That's an easy one. That is of Dampier. Nice smart monk, easy enough. Fucking druid. Some of these are just like, that's what they are. You just know it. A rogue. Honestly, I think this one's more of a fighter, because she's in a camp. Instead of like, compared to this, where she's in a mountain, so she can survive in the wilderness. I think this one's just a fighter with a crossbow, which I don't think is very efficient. That's just a classic ranger. Like, make the guy blonde, he's like us. I believe this is actually a priest, a cleric, like Torag. I don't think he has a holy symbol on him, if I remember correctly. But very much feels like a very good church war. Now this one's interesting. This would be a great shaman design. Like, especially with the scrolled writing and stuff. Although I don't think halflings make great shamans. Paladin. I think he was a pre-man in the last game, actually, if I remember correctly. So was this. I think she was a cleric? Hello, anti-Hell Knight. This just looks like again, the chaotic version of Reshel. It's got like spikes everywhere unnecessarily. And close to the third of Shaylin. We even got Shaylin's symbol here. Like ASMR I cannot pronounce the damn word. You know, I want to say rogue, but he has the weirdest fucking like semi-falchion. I don't know, man. Like, that's a weird one. It's like a short sword slash semi-falchion. It's weird. I'm gonna go with Slayer for that one. I want to go with Ranger for this one because it feels more like divine magic. sorcerer. We all know sorcerers use crossbows before they get wands. Again, I don't like the pretty dresses. They don't feel like adventurers. It feels weird to me. Anyone else get that? That's a fucked sorcerer again. This is any spellcaster, sorcerer or wizard. I lean towards sorcerer. I lean toward wizard more because he has scrolls and stuff that he can use. And he's clearly packing them. Whereas this one's like very traditionally not. Like this, like generally the rule is if it's just magic and sorcerer, if they have scrolls, they have to be a wizard or a magus or something. Ah, classic wizard, but he has a rapier, so old sword saint. Kind of be funny. That'd be kind of a fun little like collection to do. Okay, I like this one as a few different things. I like this as divine bloodline sorcerer, or you didn't drink. Okay. Or as a shit. Where was I going with this? A cleric considered. I actually had this one with the ridiculous Azada game where I played this as an ASMR Sylvan Sorcerer. Sylvan Sorcerer and Azada Path is stupid because you have an Aivu plus a different animal companion. So it's just like, you are an army if you only take one character. I believe it's an advisor from Kingmaker. Isn't this guy an iconic? I'm not terribly well versed in Pathfinder lore. But the thing is, he's an advisor, dude. He's not meant. This isn't a combat portrait. He's not a guy who fights. He doesn't have a weapon on him. I mean, you could argue monk, I guess, but like these portraits, we're just gonna skip over because I gotta go through the customs too. Oh, the customs. I might take a break actually. I didn't realize how much I don't talk this much usually. Barbarian, easy enough. I think he was one in the last game. Eldori Defender that turns into a Sword Lord. That's what you look at was. This guy was a cleric. Like a lot of these are from last game, so like Sword Lord, Fighter, Dick. Okay, but seriously, I kind of like this because he's like one of the few guys who has like one of those like half smiles where it's like, yeah, I'm confident, but shit can get done. But like, it's very hard to tell what he is with just the armor. So this is very like, this could be a bard, this could be a fucking fighter, sword saint, magus. It could be a lot of things. It's so undefined. It's hard to define. I guess that doesn't make sense. Oh well. Magar Varn, I believe he was also a fighter, but like he's out of armor, so nothing like that. See, this is a nun. I mean, cleric, I guess, but it doesn't feel like an adventure portrait to me. See, this at least feels semi-adventurous. This feels like a druid or a hunter. Someone who's actually like living on the land for their food. See, this guy is like, I don't know why this guy got a portrait. I know he's from the DLC, but like, this looks like the image on a poster of Do Not Want. See, at least this guy, for being a dick and fat, he's a mage. You can see he's a wizard. He has scrolls and stuff. Oh, now for the easy part. Fighter, Ranger, Cleric, Inquisitor, Kineticist, Bard, Arcane Trickster, Magus, Asshole, Inquisitor Cleric, Fighter, Barbarian. I believe still a Fighter and a Bard, if I remember correctly? I want to say Wizard and Fighter, because that's what these all were. Because these are all the ones. I want to tell you a story about actually, kind of funny that I thought I was fun. I'm surprised no one pointed out, considering when Kingmaker came out and when this guy arrived, a popular character arrived with him in the fantasy space. But we'll get to that later. Now for the long part. I might actually stop here and do the customs later because that's a lot, and I just realized how much my voice is doing this. But I got Frosts, Heroes of the Stolen Lands, and I believe one more mod pack. And I want to play a fun game though. how much of this is fan art of a specific character, and how much of this is semi-original? Like, I know that sun symbol's from somewhere, but I cannot for the life of me remember it. But here's a underground chemist rogue. Here's a guy wearing the Faram armor set from Dark Souls 2. Except for the head. So, another fighter. A lot of these will be fighters. Eldritch Archer. Easy enough. I want to say Paladin just because he's all the Christ image going on. That's a Knife Master Rogue or a Slayer. Like, I gotta divide these kind of into classes that have certain abilities. Like, knives like this is a sneak attacker guy. This is like, I'm 80% sure Robin Hood fan art of some kind of version of Robin Hood. So it's a ranger, it's a fighter, it's anything that can use bow good. I prefer rangers generally because they have the abilities where they have other useful traits. Whereas fighters just like, yeah, you'll get the highest bonus, but it's like, there's not as much flavor. It's not tasty. Fighter or paladin, like, heavy armor really limits this. And if you're like me, oh, one thing we're gonna note, we're actually gonna tell you about the portraits that'll annoy you too. I can't really like the art on this though. Like, I like the lighting here. I can't really speak too much for. I generally like all the art and the default stuff. It's all very competent, but it's clearly done by like one team put together. So the customs are weird because they're varied in style and art. So it's like we can also comment on art design. Here's a Witcher. I'm not sure if it's a specific one, but those are the two swords that the designs had in the Witcher games. I think he's basically a vampire thing. I don't know. It looks like a shark thing from Bloodborne with the wig. And that scares me. I hope you are alive, you weird werewolf-looking man. Mutation Warrior Fighter for Witchers sounds good. See, like, that is like the most roguey rogue. And rogues are one of the only classes that get a hood in their base design, so... Actually, I will get a question. Why are there no magical items that are hoods? Hoods are cool. See, this one, I would go with Slayer or Shaman, actually. Or possibly a Druid. Because he's, well, not Druid, because he's got too much metal on him. That's never mind. I want to say Shaman, but I don't think Shamans get longbows. I would say a Hunter with an elk. You can pretend there's an animal companion in the background. He's got medium, like, fur armor. Very cool face, actually. I really like the lighting. Also, good job with the positioning. There's some that have positioning where it makes it look, the image is too small, and it looks really awkward next to your party members. This guy's a rogue, but he's in the thick of it, so... someone who can survive, so... maybe those are... like, that guy's jumping around, being acrobatic and shit. Get a dagger. Should I use that? Do that. Well, I got Knife Master, of course. But Slayers are better Knife Masters, just they can hit more often due to the base attack bonus stat. Armored Hulk Barbarian or Blood Ranger. Or Steel Blood Ranger. This guy looks like he could get pissed off. Other Cleric, I am 80% sure this is Magic the Gathering fan, if I'm correct? I can't recall if this is that character, but tell me if I'm wrong. Dragon Age fan art with, I believe, Cullen. God, I wish you could get a coat like that over your armor. It would be kind of cool with the Surcoat. But he has a sword and board. I can't remember if he's like technically a paladin in the games. The paladin's like a subset of their fighters in Dragon Age, if I recall correctly. It has been a long time since I played Dragon Age. See, I want to go with Sorcerer for this one, because it looks like he's igniting his blood. Like, directly drawing power from his bloodline. Plus, Pathfinder doesn't have things that are equivalent to Warlocks in 5e. And that's like, that would be like a Warlock from 5e to me. Ranger, Slayer, very pretty, very put together. Nice neutral face, so you don't feel obligated to choose a different voice. unless the voice sounds really old. That's one of the weird things. All the female voices sound relatively the same age, but the male voices, like Grumpy and Wise, sound 20 years older than the other ones. See, I feel like you could argue this isn't even armor and he's getting shots, and it's like clearly barbarian. This actually is fun. I actually am making a dual scimitar mutation fighter, but I would honestly say this one's more of a. I want to say Slayer, but dual wielding. Those scimitars look like scimitars. Those are not. I don't think those are well designed swords, though. Those look like they would catch on you. See, now here's the thing. There are a lot of good ladies in armor in these posts, and that is like the clearest paladin in most of them because she's using lay on hands. This one I actually really like, and I know I should mention this often, but I can't memorize everything, and I'm doing this from my head. But this is like an archer, but I really like her chainmail armor because there's actually armor called Chainmail of Dragonfly, and it's always weirdly satisfying to match your portrait to the image on the screen. And that is almost exactly like how Chainmail of Dragonfly is modeled. See, this could be an 8. Oh, that's not on the screen. That's a chip. And a chip fell from the ceiling and made a shit glowing eye. Oopsie. It's like, you say rogue, but like, it's just a deal. This feels very generic to me. Like, it doesn't have a very strong, like a lot of these, like, take this guy for example. He's in the woods, he's stalking alone. He's got an identity. He's got sword on the back, he's melee. He's clearly very strong, very enduring. Very clearly, like, is a ranger or something. Or, again, she's clearly got healing, caring. Someone's lit there. There's like character introduced. Lay on hands. You could argue, like, this is sassy. Like, this one at least has weapons out, so you can get some kind of idea of how they fight. This just looks like an intimidation deal gone wrong. I mean, the obvious thing is rogue or slayer because of the hood, but it feels generic. Like, this one I really like, because he's a desert wandering dude. With one sword and one bow, and he feels like a survivor. And with the hood, but I'd go with ranger just for. I know I just said don't hood, but it's kind of the same similar problem. It's too non-expressive. It's very well made art, but it's not expressive for your character. Like, let me show you what I mean. There's this. I'm gonna scroll down to one of my favorite images in this whole thing. Where are you? Where the flip are you? I know you're here, girl. Here. Okay, look at how this character's posed. The sass, the expression, got a potion out, bottle, very clearly an alchemist. It's like, this is like clearly a character, like chaotic good, like everything's communicated just by the body posing and language, class. Whereas a lot of these are, like, this guy's stoic, but at least he has a sword and shield and armor, so you know he's like tough and he's very determined. This guy's literally a Robin Hood archetype. He's got his treasure. This lady's healing somebody. These are just, I don't want you to rip me off, stupid demon, and, rain's coming. Like, see, this is a lot more character. This is cool. This just screams necromancer. Like, or necromancer or hellish power just all coming at you. A sorcerer where you can find, like, forbidden knowledge. And all these Tears of the Dead, like maybe a Bones Oracle. And this one's similar too. This guy's investigating. He's curious. He looks like someone who would like walk around. He's using a light spell basically. It's like, weird, dead people. What's happened here? And here's fan art. Yay! Of dragons. This would make a pretty good gold dragon piece actually. You can pretend these are alternate forms. Inquisitor elf? Well, the Inquisitor from Dragon Age. See, even this, that's clearly a rogue. Like, they're about to break into somewhere. At least you can kind of get a feel for him. And even this, the posing is better. Like, these two are charging, they are full on head. They are ready to go. These guys don't like subtlety. I don't get as much communication with this guy, even though I kind of like his design better. Oh, here's a really good druid, actually. A druid or a wizard, someone with the blade barrier. It's very calm, but like the blades see, here's the difference. While this doesn't have anything going on to contrast it, this has like really cool blades in the background showing you that the calm expression belies a lot of danger and gives you a better feel for how this character might act. Very calm and composed, but could end you in a second. See, and this one is just like old wizened man. It looks like a mentor. Alchemist mentor with a potion, but maybe a mentor more than anything. And here again, this guy is marching to the crusade. He's not letting age stop him. And see, even this one is better, because I hate to keep ragging on this art, because I really like how well it's drawn. Like, the sword is great, the background is great, but like, this and this, I mean, they communicate some character, but they don't communicate as much as something like this, where the background contrasts with the yellow and the silver, and like, this is very clearly a caster and a druid. I mean, this has the same problem, honestly. Like, you know, there's just a fighter with two swords, whereas this feels like a character. And I don't want to say all of the work is in the background, because like it's not. You can have some of these very interesting with very little background. Like this one, very clear, determined fighter. Actually, these two are very funny alternates. Okay. Very clear monk fighter, but also has lightning and determination. Or the Serena one from Skyrim. Very clearly a monk. Although it's very funny watching these two back to back of the same character from the same portrait pack. Because, like, they're drawn for different purposes. Now that is a Crusader one. That is a great Crusader one. Stepping down, the angle's great. I should go back to where I was. Okay, what point was I making? Oh, yeah. The static versus the more dynamic images. I think expression can do a lot. Like, this is technically almost as static as this or this, but they have like it's determined expression. It works in context, like you're just seeing that, I guess. I am devolving over what I was gonna do for these. I am ranting. I am sorry, guys. I got off track. ADHD does that to you. Okay. Where the hell were we? Like, that's a cleric crusader. We got a mace. Get a dog. Everyone has a dog. Ah, here we go. This was actually just static, but him reading the book and practicing magic makes it a lot more dynamic than this, or this. And it makes you feel like you can understand who this person is better. Even this guy, he's like, I got a sword and shield, but he's guarding behind a gate. He's like, I'm not letting you get past me. Tower Shield Defender. You could like just make this guy a male version of Valerie's build from Kingmaker. I want to say Shaman, but it looks like he's about to punch my lights out. So maybe Monk? This has a similar problem, but like it's a rogue. Like mask, hood, knife. It's anything can sneak attack. And one of the weird problems with a lot of them orc posters, they are almost all, they almost all share the universal, I don't want to say tribal, but barbarian stereotypes. So a lot of them like have that. So if you're basing it off your portraits, so you don't have dissonance in your games, you have to almost have them all in light armor or like no armor. So they're almost all monks or something sorcerers with a big bone. Like, I guess this could be a sorcerer if you imagine it's a staff, but it feels more like a beat stick. And again, like, it's very static. It's very well drawn static, but I can't tell. I don't get a personality in this person like I do with this guy. This guy's at least a guard. He's at the ready. Or this guy who's punching in different, although he has that problem of 2 different weapons that pisses you off when you see it every time on the character screen. It's like, I can never have that properly. Unless I'm playing on super easy mode. This guy, he's very evil, but he's traditional. He's a stereotypical shaman. He's gonna strike his heads. Said dwell on that. Like, even this one is better than this one. Because, like, at least the accoutrement of the dog's head and her going back for... Actually, where the hell is her arm going back to? What the fuck is going on here? Okay, her hand is there. I'm trying to figure out what the hell this is. What the hell is that? I am very confused by the thing that's wrapped up on her. That's not the skull in the background here. Now this guy, this is one of the best portraits because, like, this is like, you want to be not like other orcs? Here is your caster orc dream portrait. Holy shit. You just love it because, like, you have all the wild orcs in the background just for contrast. This is a thinking orc. This is a thinking man's half orc. He's got an underbite, and with an underbite, he will cast a spell that will rip dimensions apart. I actually think he might be fan art from a game, though. Speaking of fan art, hello Ford. That is a very skinny half-orc, but, like, even I'm saying, like, the determination and showing with the falchion, which I would use as a scimitar in this game, personally. Because, like, you use it one-handed. It shows more expression, like, this guy's clearly worried and ready to go. Maybe this guy, like, he's ready to go. I guess I would make him maybe a full elf? It's weird. He's, like, hearing something going around. I'd say druid, actually, because this is what to become a tiger. Like, I can imagine the shape, like, these shapes are there. Hello, monk. That's a monk. That's easy, a monk. Here's an Eldritch Scion. Magus. Like, that's a really good for that. Like, see, like, the smile. This guy is chaotic as fuck, just by telling. And someone went ham on the water here. But we got a monk again. We got, I believe, Radagast the Brown. So, a brown fur transmuter. Hey, druid. Another druid. Like, druid, right in a row. We got druids for days, man. I'm gonna say barbarian just because, like, she looks like she just killed Killis, but two-handed that weapon, so you're getting AC somewhere else. Barbarian. Like, when I say barbarian, consider anything with rage what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the archetypes they're based on. So, Skald, barbarian. Unless it's, like, specific, I'm not gonna like, it has such a good vibe for one of these, I'm not gonna mention it. Sorcerer, wizard, warlock, witch, any of those. I also want to call this a cavalier, but that armor doesn't work enough, and it matches pretty well with, I want to say, it matches pretty well with barbarian again. Just accoutrements, so spear and shield barbarian. Does that even work well? See, this one, because the knives are so prominent, I want to make this a knife master rogue. Because, like, it looks like she's ready to do that. And here's a, I'm gonna say ancient oracle. See, this one I like too, because this is clearly a kid whose horns drew in too much. Although, the portrait, like, I would love this as a flashback portrait to coming into Canabras, but this kid, I don't know, this portrait looks too young for the adventure for me. This looks like the portrait they would have used for young Wolgie if they fused it red. Got an ASMR Paladin, blessed in their weapon. Someone who enjoys using that mace. Got a spellcaster. That big sword. Ah, there's a nice pissed off Barb. That's what's interesting, because, like, you'd think Rogue immediately, but I actually would contest, like, this could make an interesting sorcerer, just because the eye contrast makes it hard to look at something more magical. Like, the thing is, I know I'm spending a little more time on most of these, but this video idea gestated while I was staring at these portraits in the character screen for hours on end, just not deciding what to do. Paladin. Angel Paladin. Blah. Might be a shaman, actually. I think shamans can use spears. I don't know if they can use shields, though. Maybe a Skald instead. You can imagine beating it. An alternate Darren portrait. Seriously, this guy feels like Darren just because of the crossed arms. He looks like he's too cool for everything. Like, this feels like you could put Darren's voice on this portrait and it would still fit. Here's the High Priest. That I think is like one of those. I don't know who this is based on, but it looks like a real person. Based on, but like this is Uncle Cuchamont's the Catholic Church. Super Catholic. Got a vampire sorceress. It's Serena from Skyrim. Again, I already been over this one. It's too cool. Again, like, it's an ASMR, paladin, or cleric. It's a holy warrior. Like, you gotta divide these in, like, sections just to make it work. It's weird. Then there's a poor god guy. Dark, brooding. Maybe a Hell Knight, actually. Another vampire, so Dampier. Dampier sorceress again. Here's a fan art from Alucard from Castlevania. Because that has got, like, I know the face isn't as similar, and, like, the chest is exposed for sexiness, but, like, dude, that's just straight up him. Like, it's the gold and black accents down the long coat. He's got the pendant. Like, that is just fucking him. What class would we go with Alucard, though? I'd go Magus, personally, because I know he uses a shield, but, like, Magus with an S stock to represent. I am blanking on Alucard's long-ass sword's name. Shit! I'm sorry, guys. Monk. And that's what's interesting. This is like a heavy armor vampire. So, maybe a fighter vampire. Somebody can get close and bite their asses. Or a demon, maybe. I love these ones, because, like, you gotta love the contrast of halfling barbarians. Now, here it could be fun, because, well, these are clearly daggers. Druids can use daggers. You got a wolf in the background. Or you can be a cavalier. Either way, he looks like a solid snake as a halfling, so that's fun. Got an arcanist or a wizard. Something arcane. This feels like an alternate Slayer, although that feels like fan art of someone, but I can't remember who. I do like this one because it's a rogue in action, but it's still very neutral, so it doesn't exude personality that you can match to a voice very well. This guy's fucking crazy. This is one of the perfect portraits for the Madman voice. No. I feel like I should know this art style. Like, is this ripped from an artist for Grand Blue Fantasy? Like, I feel like I've seen that eye design before. We got across the stuff, like maybe Arcane Trickster. It feels like Halfling Octavia to me, honestly. It's what it looks like. Hey, an alternate Erebeth, if anyone wants to go ahead and replace the files, because that looks a lot like one of her alternate portraits already. Also, it's kind of cool, because, like, I think this character is supposed to be blind. Oh, one of my favorites coming up. This sassy motherfucker. I have never seen someone actually be good at the meta, because if any monk runs off charisma, it's this bastard. This is a Scaled Fist monk. Using an electric dragon, because you can, or something, like the roses, the smoke. That is the most Scaled Fist monk looking ass I've ever seen. Got another barbarian. Going 2 different weapons, some downgrade points. I want to say this is. I want to actually. Like, I know it's probably not because it looks too generic. For some reason, I want to say this is Glorfindel. Every time I see it, even though the armor doesn't really work. Here we got a giant dwarf from. I'm pretty sure Warhammer Fantasy based on some of these designs. But like, it's one of those weird things where it's like, which one do you use? I'd go with the axe that's behind his head. But Stone Lord, Fighter, whatever. Oh, this one's fun. This is a barbarian or a druid. You got the bear spirit, so like it's already telling you what you're gonna take or turn into. A lot of the classic bearskin berserkers of in older ports. I would almost go with fighter for this one actually. Because he's wearing too much armor and looks like he looks like he could raid out, but he looks a bit more composed than barbarian. You know, surprisingly, not surprisingly, Knife Master Rogue. Although, okay, so if anyone else remembers, there was this like old World of Warcraft animation on YouTube, and it was like really good. It's just a song that went like hide and seek, and it's like one of the oldest YouTube videos. I can't remember it exactly. But for some reason, this reminds me. The plot was like an elf broke into a city, tried to kill a guy, and there was a really awesomely animated fight set to the music. And this image always reminds me of that video. Is this actually an image of Red Sonja? I can't remember correctly. Get another barbarian. At least this guy has axes in both hands for once, so something that doesn't bug you every time you open your inventory screen. Now these I believe are actually made for this game, so like that's why these are very specifically weapons you can find in game. Like I think it's even a Kalavic skull. I think it's recommissioned. Like you got an ASMR monk, got an ASMR maybe paladin. I wish you could use a decent sized spear and shield. Like this one makes the most obvious. If you ever want a twin blade dampier, this shit's good for that. And like art's quality enough. Like it's not as detailed as some of the other art, but like the fact that you have both ends is really great. Although I think this is Frost, and for some reason when I download it, I'm missing half of them. It's weird. I don't think spiritual weapon exists, but I want to say a cleric with like Torai, the creation god. Now here's a fun little mage. Like even the date though, if that bugs you, so I get that, but that's clearly like a gnome or halfling mage. Here's, I guess, the alternate version of Camellia if she wasn't a psychopath. She looks more like, it looks like a Warhammer Fantasy version of Katarina Greyfax to me. I know, like, that's saying a lot, but that's an Inquisitor. It's just the hat. Inquisitors get the coolest hat in the game. Here's, like, this guy feels like a monk just how buff he is. Now this, I love this, because this is one of the only portraits you can find of an orc smiling in any of the mods. This is, like, the only one where it looks like someone happy and jovial, and, like, you can still kick your teeth in. He's got the biggest sword in the game. It's just like double greatsword. All you guys are oversized swords in this game. But like, I love this because it's the only one of them smiling. Like everyone else is like super murder man. It's like the only image I can find in all these mods of an orc smiling. We got some like druid stuff here. I want to say half-orc fighter. We got a ASMR, spellcaster of some kind, got staff. A lot of, oh yeah, we're down to the Heroes of Stolen Land. That's slightly better organized. Like they're all the order. So I think we're gonna finish the ASMR and stop for now because there's a lot more of these. But like fighter, inquisitor. A lot of this shit's weird. This is actually fun because this is an ASMR that's clearly doing dark magic shit. So she's doing shit she isn't supposed to. But like, you got all these orcs who are just fighters or brutes or... I mean, I guess this guy's technically a tower shield specialist. With a flail, which does sound pretty fun. And we got like... another... I can't think of anyone who can use a spear and a shield. Okay, got a paladin with a bardiche or something like that. got a twin blade. I want to say fighter just because he's a twin blade, because twin blade you need to be a fighter just to get some good specialization, especially if you're a Dampier character to start with. You got like all these guys are versions of druid. This guy might be a fighter or a monk, because he's just throwing down these swords like I'm gonna punch you in the face. And like barbarian classic, I should keep better track of which ones I've gone over, but I'm doing this off the cuff of an impulse that I had 2 hours ago. And like, I'm gonna do this before I don't do it, so I won't regret not doing it. I don't know if that's a good idea or not. I want to say there's a kineticist almost, but kineticists don't use bows. Now this is a conjuration wizard or conjuration specialist, because she is gonna knife you. Here's a cool, like, ASMR, I want to say monk design, or another cool cleric. I love the contrast in this one, but I want to say this is an oracle, just because it looks like she's getting cursed by shit. Here's a divine fucking paladin. See, this was one of the ones I like too, because it looks like this guy's trying to bind himself, or get it done. So it's like, it's the personality. I think this would be really fun for demon playthroughs where you're trying to bind the rage. This guy is a caster with some armor? Where do casters get armor? I guess shaman or cleric. Oh, this one's good just because the guy's clearly walking home. You can imagine that's a halberd or a bardiche. Here's the guy I always name Sanguinius because I'm a Warhammer 40k fanboy. I am so excited for the next game too. But I do love this one because it's like the contrast of this heavenly figure in this like burning graveyard and this corpse down here. Like, he looks prepared and ready. Also, I fucking love this jacket so much. I love the jacket over the armor design. It is so cool to me. And this guy is like just... I actually made this portrait a Blood Rager. Like the Celestial Bloodline. Like, it kind of worked because he was calm, but like, you could do any... He's clearly a very martial class, but... To me, Slayers need to have dual weapons. Even though I know they work with greatswords, and a lot of people to use those, but Slayers feel like they should use dual weapons or ranged weapons. They are there to get the job done, not to do it nobly. See, this feels like an NPC assassin to me. It doesn't feel like a character. This feels like a character. This guy's binding or casting. It's like very desperate. I'm gonna sorcerer because it feels like it's coming from him, not studying. Although that could be the ASMR part in the room. Here's like a cast sands. This feels like King Solomon Fender, but again, these are very well drawn, but they don't express a lot of character in the portraits themselves. Like, at least that guy's smiling. Oh, we're done undead. The undead portraits express some of the best character. Like, you get a lot of them, like, this lady's clearly drawing blood from her sword. This one's, like, they're all draining light, which is pretty generic for the most part, but at least they're really there. I love her rapier. She's doing the finger guard thing. I know it's like align the edge, but I can't remember properly. I just love this one because, like, that is just... This looks tragic to me. It looks like half his face got eaten away, and the light's just there on it. Oh! Here's one of my favorites. Like, one of the only happy-looking vampires. This one with the optimistic voice on a playthrough where she's constantly dying for people healing her is hilarious. See, this feels more like a portrait of the snake than the lady to me. At least this one, with her phrase above and floating, she feels powerful and furious. This is like, you are beneath me. As like, maybe a cleric or Gotha. Like, I can't really tell what this could be, but like, most of these are casters, is the thing. Because most of them don't wear armor or have stuff. Like, at least this one, you got the headless guy, got there. She's clearly out there hunting on her own. This is like, give her Wenderwog's voice, but as a vampire. Like she just stole this guy's crown. This actually looks like this is gonna be a fun alternate image to put into Winter Sun as like an end of the vendors thing. It's just see, there's just a lady in a dress. There's no character to it. This feels like an NPC, not a adventurer to me. At least this one has a laughing ogre behind her and this ration, and she's got these things. So I'm gonna go with Mutation Warrior Fighter because it's like armor, but I don't know what the hell you'd use a chain for. Ah, this guy, this asshole commands the undead. Like this guy's like evil and loving it. I am 80% sure this is Prince. Shit. Fuck, what's his name from Michael Moorcock's series? Because that looks like that evil blade. I can't remember his goddamn name. And this one is kind of interesting. Like, for... You can make this both, but at least he's constructing stuff from shadows, he's gathering energy. At least this guy has a plan, even if he's generic. This would make a great, like, Hell Knight that you relate like a fallen paladin, or like a fighter who goes down the undeath path. There's the crown. It's just sad, and like the humanity slowly leaking away is great for that. This guy looks like he's out of Star Wars. It feels weird. Oh, here we go, the dandy one. You gotta pick something with claw weapons, so it would be fun to be a demon in this one. But this guy looks like he's... I want to say Inquisitor, but I don't think Dampiers get claw weapons. Although you could like get confused with something else like claw weapon. What else gets claw weapons? His teeth, he doesn't have horns in the thing. Like you'd have to go with an oracle that gets a claw weapon in the thing. Or like someone with a nature curse or a wolf scarred face or something. I can't, like that one's hard, so you have to tell me, guys. He's like the pale orc. Yep. I mean, he was just a fighter. Well, here's something fun. Eldritch Scoundrel Rogue Dampier half-orc. Like, I just, like, some of these, I was inspired because, like, I'm just like, that's what that is. That's what this video is, like. And here's a Belmont from that Castlevania reboot. This is a tragic Dampier paladin. And this guy's just, like, expecting his sword with his undead beings in the back, so melee undead. And here's David Bowie. It's just fucking David Bowie from Labyrinth. It's the Goblin King. He's not even a necromancer. Is he a necromancer? Like, I don't know why David Bowie is here. This guy feels more like... I would love to use this portrait for Zacharias in the game. Because this feels kind of like what he is, like, eat the heart, my apprentice. This guy feels like he's from Greek mythology, but I don't know who he is. I know he's eating eyeballs or something, but it's like, I don't know, he's got a very Greek mythology aesthetic to me. Okay, on the dwarves. And my computer just didn't... And, okay. What just happened? You know what? I got so many more of this to go through. I'm gonna end it there. I'm gonna post it to the Reddit. If you guys want me to do more of this ranting, I'll go ahead, but I just wanted to do this because it's a weird one-shot thing I wanted to do. Okay. Well, first I gotta stop the recording.